Welcome back to Bargain Brand Wellness, where self-care is on clearance, leadership isn't always FDA approved, and we believe hydration, meditation, and speculation should all be part of your description. Welcome back. Tonight we're clocking in to talk about work, the good, the bad, and the weird middle manager who only communicates in random calendar invites. We're diving into three big questions. How do you know if you're a good leader? Can you really manage your manager without a power struggle or a passive-aggressive email war? And what's the real meaning behind a jack of all trades? Spoiler, it's not the insult that you think it is. So grab your employee handbook because we're about to make it worth your wellness. Let's go, wellness warriors. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Glad to have you here. We are live on Facebook and TikTok. We were attempting to kind of start with YouTube and also including Twitch, but we were having a little bit of a technical issue that I need to troubleshoot a little bit more. We'll have to do that late one evening. But we are excited to have you here. If this is your first time on the stream, this is our wellness channel, right? Bargain Brand Wellness, where we have a great time here. You know, we talk about all things wellness, right? And let's be honest, most things can kind of be applied to wellness in some way, shape, or form. We're a relatively new channel, but we've been having fun along the way, so we're excited to get into this. We're going to get a little background jams going for you, copyright free, mind you. From the Relaxed Movement YouTube channel. They have a couple different, they're like a 12-hour long playlist. It's not bad at all. Make sure it's not too loud for you. See, we have a couple viewers in and out of here. Give us a wave, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. Give us whatever you feel we deserve. We're in here having a good time. We're going to give everyone a moment to pop in, those who are going to be joining us. Basically, we kind of record, a couple different segments throughout. Today's topic, kind of alluded to with the title, was how much is your worth, right? We're kind of talking about professional, as a professional, what is your worth and managing individuals. We're going to get into that here shortly. Just like I said, we want to make sure we give everyone a chance to pop in. I'm seeing we've had a lot of people kind of pop in and out on TikTok. If you pop in, feel free to stick around for at least a few minutes. We only go live for about an hour, maybe a little bit over. Not super long streams, just enough to kind of come in here, talk a little bit about wellness, and then move on about our days. But we're recruiting our wellness warriors, right? Our self-care connoisseurs, right? All right. So with that being said, we're going to get ready to get into our first little recording. If you're here with us, feel free to, throw your wellness tips in the chat, leave a comment. We're going to record a segment and, I like to interact with chat. That's kind of why we're set up this way. You tell me, what are your thoughts based off the topic that we're going? These recordings they're relatively short. They're about anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes usually. But then after that we can kind of talk. Y'all can talk amongst each other within the chat. So yeah. All right, let's get into recording our first segment. So how do you know when you're a good leader? When's the last time someone you used to lead reached out to you for whatever reason? Advice, milestones, etc. This shows whether you've had an impact on that person throughout their life, especially their professional life. Right? You are seen as someone who they trust or value. Another way is how to know if you're a good leader is, are you able to tell us 3 important things about everyone that reports to you? Right? And we're not talking professional here. We're talking about the incredible details, right? What are their kids' names? What are their dogs' names? What do they like to do in their spare time? What are their hobbies? Do you really know the people underneath of you? Because you cannot lead those you do not know. How do you know if you're a good leader? When's the last time you did something to improve your leadership? Have you read a book? Have you listened to a podcast? Right? Anything like that feeds into improvement. So what steps have you taken to improve upon yourself? Right? Self-care can come with a price, but not on the Bargain Brand Wellness. We've got self-care on clearance for our Bargain Brand Wellness Warriors. Kind of a short first segment for everyone, right? But we're kind of just talking about that. You know, how do you know if you are a good leader? How do you know? You know, we talked about that kind of already. You know, a good leader is someone who has an impact on someone. You know, 10 years from now, are they still going to remember whatever the moments you may have had on them, right? Are you someone who helped them grow? And I'm not saying always being nice, but someone who helped them grow. I agree with you, Michael. Leaders aren't afraid to do what needs done. They're right. They're willing to stand up for what's right. That's signs of a good leader, right? As we mentioned in our little recording we just did, right? Leaders know the people that work for them, right? They know what their needs are, and they know a little bit about them, right? And leaders are always trying to self-improve. And I've got a little hint for you. If you're here watching us and kind of engaging with our content, this is the first step, right? This is just one example of something you can do to kind of improve your leadership. There's plenty of different YouTube videos you can watch, plenty of books, webinars, online training, right? Great ways to know if you are in fact a good leader. Good leaders make others around them better. I couldn't have said it better myself, Lou. Thanks for being here. Right. You still the mayor up there in PA? I wasn't sure if you're still running for office. But I couldn't agree more. Leaders make those around them better. People in our field are desperate for leaders. Michael, I see it every day, especially, you know, over the last few weeks with people coming in. They look defeated. They really do. And anybody who I've talked to, that's exactly what I've told them. You guys need leadership. You need someone to take charge and, you know, lead. People want to be led, right? Because leading isn't always easy. It can once you get good at it. Once you have people that'll follow you. I mean, the rest kind of speaks for itself. But you need someone who's willing to kind of stand in the front lines and, you know, take a bullet. Not a very good analogy, but trust me, my friend, everyone who has met me will always remember me. Love you, sweetie. Linda, I could never forget you. You know what I miss? I miss your little wing sauce you used to make there at Savage. That was good stuff. That and that, what was that, Texas Roadhouse butter? Oof, yeah, that stuff's so good. I'm feeling fat just thinking about it. Lou, I miss you. You're a handsome guy. You know that. I miss you, but we're doing pretty good. We're doing our thing. I don't know how often you talk to any of your past coworkers, but after you left, we ended up hiring Mr. Michael Blank in your position, and he's doing a really good job. He's a good guy. Linda, I love you too. When you coming back to work. So we're having fun here for any of our new viewers who are popping in and out, saying hi, even if it's just for a moment. Miss you too, buddy. Glad you guys are doing well. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, I hope you're doing well too, Lou. I know you were looking to improve your situation. I hope everything's working out with you. I hope family's doing well. Right. But for any of our new viewers, we're over here having fun, right? We're just engaging. We're talking about wellness. This week's topics are kind of more on a from a professional lens, right? A little bit different than what we've done so far. But you can kind of take these same principles and apply it to other parts of your life. Right now, we're talking about just being a good leader. And leadership is not dictated by position, as many of you probably already know. Leadership is dictated by your ability to influence those around you. Right? Some people are just natural born leaders. Some people are leaders and don't want to be leaders. Trust me, I've kind of been in that position myself before. It's difficult when you don't want to lead, because you have to question yourself, why don't you want to lead? But hey. We're here in just another moment. We're going to get into another one of our segments, which is on how to manage your manager. It's not easy. It's not easy. Has to be done carefully, because depending on what you do, you don't necessarily want to come across as insubordinate. Now, in some of your roles, right, you may not necessarily care about that too much, right? Especially if you're just kind of fed up with whatever. But there are ways around dealing with I don't want to say a bad manager. I really don't want to label anybody as a bad manager, but yeah. Tim, I disagree with you on people need leaders. I don't. Tell me what your disagreement was. I'm not necessarily saying just in general they need leaders. I was more specifically talking about our line of work, for those who know what I'm talking about. I don't want to get too much into it for any viewers on here who are kind of outside. But that's kind of what I was more talking about. We have some places right now that they need, trust me, they need leadership. It's really bad. But yeah. Trading? No, we're not into trading. No, we're not into trading. We're in here talking about leadership. Leadership, right? How do you know you're a good leader? How to manage your manager. And then our last segment we're going to get into here in a little bit is going to be on the saying a jack of all trades, right, is a master of none. But there's actually a little bit more to that saying that you might not have ever heard of. I just heard it myself. So, welcome to our TikTok fans who've been joining in. Right, welcome to my Facebook friends that have been popping in. I'm glad you're here. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We had planned on kind of starting a couple minutes earlier because this is my first time streaming to multiple platforms. I primarily have been going live on Facebook. We went live on YouTube. Wednesday. This is our first time live on TikTok. And we were going to try to do Twitch, but YouTube was kind of giving us a fit. I need to troubleshoot something because something didn't work. But we're on here. We've had a lot of people pop in and out of the TikTok. Any of you popping in and out, I know it may not necessarily look like much, but stick around and join us. I keep my screens nice and clean, right? We're not a gaming channel. I'm not really, as much as I love playing video games, I just don't really have time to do that in my relatively busy life. And even if I did, I don't know how much I'd stream that. I'm not necessarily a great video gamer. Right? But who knows? Maybe down the line. Maybe if we ever get any viewers over there on Twitch. Right, we'll see what happens there. So yeah, so right now, as of right now, we're live on Facebook, we're live on TikTok, 2 separate chats, just because I'm still new to this. Don't quite know the way to kind of put them together, but we'll figure that out at some point. I know this. I'm a very strong person. I feel sorry for those who are going through rough times. I would be the first person to help. You are a strong person. And I mean, sometimes that can be indicative of leadership. Right. I don't know if you've ever been in any type of leadership roles, like, the title. But as I mentioned before, people don't need a title to necessarily be a leader. If you ever question your leadership abilities, right, or how much you influence people, think about how they respond to you, right? Do they ever kind of find ways to look for your approval, right? Do they share acknowledgments or milestones or achievements with you? Hey, did you know my 10-year anniversary is coming up, right? Hey, did you hear I might be getting a promotion at work? There's a reason these people are coming to you with that. It's because you have an influence on them, and that's leadership. Yes, I've owned 2 businesses. Well, then that explains it, Linda. So, I mean, you have that. You've been in the official title as a leader, right? And I don't know. I mean, the deep question is that something you're born with, or is it something that's developed? I mean, leadership is such an internal trait. I don't know if there's evidence to suggest that someone's actually born with it. But I definitely maybe think it's developed, right, through events, through that person's life, by the people who have influenced them, right, just as much. Maybe you had some really strong leaders in your life that, it's developed. Yeah. And I'd agree with that. I think it can be either. Yeah. I mean, I've never really taken much time to think about, with leadership, you've all heard that term before, natural born leaders. Is that just a saying, or, I mean, is there some truth to that? The best I can kind of come up with, anybody who knows me knows I always like to kind of take it back to our roots, back to a primitive, animalistic nature. I think of dogs, right? When dogs are born in packs, there are alphas and there are betas, right? And you can figure out really quickly with puppies which one are alphas and which ones are betas simply by how they let you hold them. Now, I'm not talking about a 2-day-old puppy. I'm talking about like probably a few week old puppy. If you go to pick up a puppy and lay it and kind of hold it like a baby to where it's kind of on its back, if it starts to squirm and flail about, you've got yourself an alpha, right? Kind of that natural leader of the pack, right? They're going to be dominant. They're going to be protective. If they go to lay down their back and they're just not carefree, right? Just laying back, still a great dog, but probably not a great protector. Great with kids, right? Not that most dogs are good with kids, but a different breed. Does that same thing apply to humans? Are there alphas and are there betas? I don't know. I don't know. You guys kind of got me thinking a little bit here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we are born with it. We might have to dive into that one a little bit. I'm not necessarily going to get into any research while we're on here right now, but you definitely got me thinking. Definitely got me thinking. So since we're talking about leaders, where I could have had a lot of bad things happen to me growing up, that's when you have to be a strong person. And resilience is something else, that kind of develops through those tough moments. You develop those protective factors so that it doesn't happen again. Very, very possible, right? A lot of people can attest to that. But if you like that, if you guys are liking this topic, I think you might like this next one. We're going to start talking about how to manage your manager. Have you ever dealt with a micromanager? Right? Maybe say to them, how can we build more trust in our working relationship? Or are you feeling overloaded? You might ask, what are the top priorities that we should be focusing on this week? Oftentimes, micromanagement stems from a lack of trust. Not necessarily anything that you've done, but maybe something that's going on with them in their life or their previous work experience that makes it feel like they have to micromanage every little detail. They struggle to delegate, and when they do delegate, they micromanage and watch and make comments on every single task. A lot of times what they don't delegate, they just find it easier to just do for themselves. And they might watch your every move. Do they sometimes offer harsh criticism? You might say, what outcome are you hoping to achieve with this feedback? Maybe they're dismissive. You might say, what are your concerns about the suggestions or ideas that I outlined? The harsh criticism by proposing this question kind of lets them kind of check their tone without challenging them. Right? Sometimes people almost need to, I don't want to necessarily be put in their place, but they tend to forget who they're talking to. Right? Just because someone is your manager, supervisor, director, administrator, whatever their title might be, doesn't give them the right to talk to you like you're a piece of garbage. Right? So by asking the question, what outcome are you hoping to achieve from this feedback? Kind of checks them a little bit, but doesn't come off as being unsubordinate. And then with the dismissive, reframing the importance of your input by asking about the concerns of your ideas. If your supervisor provides zero feedback, you might say, what are your thoughts on the progress we've been making so far? They might be overwhelmed, right? Or they might kind of be in a world of don't know, don't care. Maybe on the other side, they're not accepting any of your feedback. Maybe they think they know better. Or when you try to give them feedback, they go on the defense, unfortunately. Right? Regardless, you're trying to get a little bit more out of them and give them a little bit more in return. The question then becomes, can you lead upwards? We're going to kind of get into that a little bit more. Does your manager withhold information? Having more context would help me contribute more effectively. How would you feel about sharing? This promotes teamwork. Leadership isn't just top down. Sometimes it starts from within the team. Leading up can be a challenge, right? It's definitely worth it in the long run and absolutely improves relationships. So, can you manage your manager? Yeah, you can. You just have to be pretty clever about the way you do it, right? Type up those emails, ask the questions, revise your emails, revise your questions. You don't want to come off as being insubordinate because we're trying to work and build on our relationships, right? Remember, self-care can come with a price, but not on the better bargain brand wellness. Self-care is on clearance. Joseph Twig. Joseph Twig, nice to see you. Nice to see you. I saw Angela Paul Penrod jump on. I never know if that's Angela or Paul jumping in. Says, I don't know You kind of look at kids we went to school with, you could tell the leaders, and they're the ones who grow up and take on a manager role or start their own business. True. But can you say for sure if that's something that was developed or is that something they were born with? You'd really have to look at the people that are in their environment, their parents, their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, older siblings, right? Not to mention, we could even kind of get in the world of where are they in their own, family? Are they the oldest child? Are they the middle child? Or are they the baby? Do micromanagers know they are micromanagers? Not typically. Unfortunately, not typically. They don't. Most of them are just so overwhelmed with everything that's going on, they don't really know where to start. I truly believe that. I don't think most micromanagers know that they're actually micromanaging. The question is, can you kind of hint at it without, kind of really throwing their name out there? I've had some micromanagers that I've worked with. They're not easy people to work with because you constantly feel like you're kind of under a microscope, which can make it really, really difficult. Most of the time they deny it. Yeah, and I agree. I'm not 100% sure that they know that they are in fact micromanaging people. They think that they're just doing what they. It's hard to. I'm gonna tell you, it's hard to let go. Right? I can tell you specifically in the work that I do. I take pride. I'm all about quality. Anyone who's ever kind of watched me work, I'm all about that. And sometimes I almost feel like I don't want to say I have to let go of the quality, but I have to let go and I have to let people kind of find their own way. And that's not an easy thing to do. Do you know how many people I've helped to make them more confident throughout my life? I believe it a lot. A lot. Here's the question back for you. Do you know how many people that you've helped to make them more confident throughout your life that you didn't even know that you had that effect on them? I'm going to put that one right back on you, Linda. There's probably more than you know. And that goes for all of us, right? Because any of us can be a leader, right? Any of us at any time can lead. It's just, are we able to step into that role? Are we willing to step into that role, even for just a little bit? As I mentioned before, leadership is not dictated by title. And a lot of jobs, right? Throughout life, you don't take promotions for the money. Sometimes I pay a price for helping people. We all do. I talked a little bit about it the other day. We talked about boundaries. A lot of us are people pleasers by nature, which stems from poor boundaries. We'll get into that into another episode because that's a whole. I can do an episode just on setting boundaries. Something I've worked on a lot throughout the last few years, throughout my professional life, and I'm still working on it. Heck, I'm struggling here with boundaries because I'm trying to stream on 4 different platforms so I can reach multiple people, and you can see what I'm working with. So, Joey Twig, I see you popped on. Thanks for being here, buddy. For anybody who just joined, we're live on Facebook. We're live on TikTok. For our TikTok viewers, I know we've kind of had people popping in and out. A lot of, unfortunately, not sticking around, which is fine. We're live on my personal account. We started the Bargain Brand Wellness TikTok account. I've got a couple TikToks that I've posted over there, but not a whole lot. So not a whole lot of engagement over there. I posted TikTok the other day and it got 0 views, but I think it's because I accidentally posted a TikTok on my personal account at the exact same time. So currently I'm live on my personal TikTok account, which we'll probably continue to do that as we kind of build the Bargain Brand Wellness TikTok account up, also known as BBW. All right, get your minds out of the gutter. Doesn't mean what you think it does. I couldn't find you on YouTube. Yeah, Mom, I was just telling them it wasn't something when I went to go live, it was acting up weird. So I'm glad you found us over here. Yeah, TikTok. There's an account under this name, but I had to kind of make a last second switch. Hey, at least we're on here, We're on here. We've had about 100 people jump in and out on TikTok, which I think is pretty normal. Most people kind of pop in for a second but don't stick around, which is unfortunate, but that's all right. We're getting engagement over there. I appreciate those of you who are on here. Honey, I don't even know how to get on TikTok. That's funny. You know, TikTok's not all that bad. I know a lot of people are, you know, they're hesitant to get into the whole TikTok thing. Listen, if you've got Facebook and you watch those little short clips, guess what? You watch TikTok. Most of those clips are the same things that are posted on TikTok. Most of them are downloaded from TikTok and then posted to Facebook. TikTok is actually a really great app. There's a downside to it and a good side, just like everything else in life. I was on the side of probably, 2 years ago? I was like, oh, I'm not doing TikTok. That's stupid. Yeah, exactly. Facebook Reels. That's TikTok. Just the timing's a little bit different. They can't be over, I think, 90 seconds. And I downloaded TikTok. I was like, you know what? Let me check this out, right? Let me see if I can figure something out. Because my kids told me that, you know, there's a good side and a bad side to TikTok. Within 2 minutes, I was getting videos of half-naked women on there. Right? Half-naked women. But then I learned very quickly that you can click and hold on that to tell TikTok, I don't want this type of content and I don't get it anymore. And every once in a while, it'll pop on, but I immediately am able to kind of get rid of it, which is exactly what we do. So, yeah, TikTok's not bad. I've learned a lot with it. You know, I get a lot of good ideas for some of my my algorithm. No, this is when I first downloaded it. It's definitely not the algorithm. See, this is why I can't tell people nothing. No, it was within minutes of downloading it. I was getting that. You know, because, you know, we live in a world where sex sells, right? Oh, that's funny. Great, I go tell everyone that now it's my algorithm. Most people are afraid. Michael Blank, thanks for being here, buddy. We were just talking about you. I don't know if he's still in here, but your predecessor, Lou Curcio, was in here with us. I was telling him how I missed you, but I got a good replacement, right? Most people are afraid of getting their info stolen by the Chinese on TikTok. Trust me, they probably already have your info. Apparently, they have my algorithm as well, which is not appropriate. Which I swear that's not what I watched. That's what I get for telling y'all stuff. I'm just waiting on your P-Hub account to pop up. Yeah, we're gonna start an OnlyFans account for Bargain Brown Wellness, but it's gonna be like only dads. It's gonna be all clean. You know, I'm not selling feet pics or anything like that over here. It's just gonna be me posing, just smiling at the camera, with like my different sunglasses, my different hats, and different shirts on. Right? I think I can make some money with that. So if you're just joining us, we're having a good time over here. As I was saying, we attempted to go live on YouTube. Something messed up on my side, something with encoding. So it didn't work. So we were trying to do live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and TikTok, which I don't know if anybody tries to do that, but we're a new channel, so we're trying to reach out to as many people as we can and bring them in. YouTube wasn't working though. So I didn't even attempt to do Twitch, to be honest. I might have to troubleshoot it kind of later in the evening and just see if we can get everything running before we really try to get this going. So as of right now, we are live on Facebook and we are live on TikTok. So glad to have you here. If you're checking us out over there on TikTok, give us a follow, give us a heart, give us a like, give us one of those little icons that I don't know what any of them ever do. If you're here on Facebook, I don't think you can give me anything other than a like, which we appreciate. Glad to have you all here, enjoying the engagement. All right, so let's get ready to get into our kind of last topic here to make sure you get that secondary employment form approved first. Yeah, I'm gonna try to go to TikTok. If you try to go to TikTok, Joey, go to my personal account. I'm not on the Bargain Brand Wellness TikTok. I figured I had more followers on that, so I went live there first. Yeah, I did do a secondary employment form, but it was for Sparking, which I haven't really been doing because I haven't had time to lately. Yeah, if we start making money over here, we'll do that live streamer. All right, let's get into our next topic, which is the saying about being a jack of all trades. Let's start by setting the record straight. Most people stop at jack of all trades, master of none, and use it to shade someone who's all over the place. But the full quote: a jack of all trades is a master of none, but is still better than a master of one. And if you think about it, this kind of changes the whole tone. It's not an insult, it's a recognition of versatility. Especially in today's job market, being adaptable, curious, and multi-skilled is actually a survival trait. Think of it as being a human Swiss Army knife. So when does versatility become exploitation? Being a jack of all trades at work can make you the go-to, the hero, the only one who knows how to fix the printer and lead the team meeting. Sounds useful, right? Until you realize you're doing 3 jobs for 1 salary. Not so fun then. When you're doing a lot of good things, do you ever feel like you're not great at anything? Let's talk about the imposter syndrome that often tags along with being multi-skilled. Feeling that you don't belong, you're not good enough. When will they figure out I'm not supposed to be here? Right? Society sometimes equates specialization with value, which can make jacks feel like maybe a floater or even a failure. But in reality, jacks tend to be the bridge builders, the connectors, and the creative problem solvers. So remember, being a jack of all trades is actually a compliment, right? Because being that jack of all trades is better than being a master of none. Remember, we've got self-care on clearance here at Bargain Brand Wellness, and we're happy to have you here. Stick around. I'd never heard that saying. I've always heard the jack of all trades thing because it's, I think a lot of us, kind of consider ourselves, we wear a lot of different hats depending on what we're doing. But a lot of times it is kind of, usually used in kind of a negative light, which is unfortunate because it's not necessarily a bad thing. I see Joey's over there on TikTok. Glad to have you here. I keep getting things, my computer's on high load detected, which is probably just because we're running so many different programs right now. As long as it doesn't shut down, we'll be good. Right. I want to thank all my close friends for being here with us, especially those ones on Facebook. Right, my personal, professional friends. Glad to have you here. I love and appreciate you all. Appreciate the support as you jump on here. As I mentioned before, we're live on TikTok. Kind of having a good time over here on this nice Friday evening. I was starting to get a little nervous, I won't lie to you. I thought for a second, I was like, oh shoot, we're not going to be able to go because my computer needs to do some sort of update that Tim forgot to check. Right. I was so excited about going live on 4 different platforms, didn't even think to check it. So we don't have many subscribers on YouTube, so I'm not super concerned about YouTube right now. I just be clicking on the video. My boy. But I will tell you, our kind of main channel I think we're going to try to really grow is going to be the YouTube channel, because that's where you're going to find, the full video. Right, minus the 15-minute starting soon screen. You'll find the little clips that I record as separate videos. So Don't feel like you have to go over there and click on every single one. But if you don't mind every once in a while going over to the Bargain Brand Wellness YouTube channel, click a like on some of the videos here and there, share them here and there, kind of spread the word out a little bit. We're a growing channel, having fun, right? Having a lot of laughs at my expense. I'm used to it. I sometimes do it to myself. That's what I get. Manipulation. What do you mean manipulation? Who are you manipulating, Linda? I knew it. I knew that about you. That's your superhero name, the Manipulator. But yeah, so well, it's kind of what led us off. We were talking about, some people's like, I don't even know how to get on TikTok, or I don't even know what TikTok is. It's actually a really good resource. It picks up your algorithm pretty quick, just based off of how long you stay engaged with a video, right? Before I'm at 1.2 likes, 1.2K likes on TikTok for this live. I don't know what that does though. I appreciate y'all hitting it. Joey, if that's you hitting it, I appreciate it. I don't think it necessarily does a lot. When we were doing the live with, and yes, Danny, I still am having trouble saying it, with the other show, we'd get it up around 4,000 or 5,000 likes. It's just you. Just you hitting the like button. I think we made a couple cents here and there, which, speaking of which, Danny, since we're not doing the other show anymore, what would we make, like probably $1? I think we need to split that evenly 3 ways. I got investments I got to make. What's your TikTok? On my TikTok, it's under my username, just Tim Marine, but it's also under Pop's Chatter, which was kind of based off of the old, our old show, which, yes, I'll say it, Brothers Chatter. So I guess I'll probably end up changing that, updating my profile picture for that one. But that's where most of my followers are. Suck it, I already spent it. I'll see you in court, sir. That's 33.333 cents is mine. I want my money back. I'll tell you what, we'll make it a fair. That's true. You can't keep. You told me I could keep the rest of the equipment. You can keep my third of our share. You should just change the name of the Brothers Chatter to Bargain Brand Wellness. I almost considered that. I didn't know if that was misleading. Right, I still have access to it, but it's also under that email address, and I created a whole separate email account for this. Yes, I thought that might be misleading. I didn't really want to do that. Yeah, I didn't really want to do that, but we'll grow. I just need to post TikToks on there as well. Kind of push people over there to starting to like that. We'll start getting more engagement over there. It'll grow. It needs content. So, glad you're all here this evening. I love you guys. It's a wonderful Friday evening. I think we had pretty good engagement last Friday too. Fridays, I think, are definitely the move. I'm still trying to figure out, the different, the different ways we want to do things, how we can get content. Basically every live stream is going to kind of have a theme. Most of the topics within those themes are always going to be related. But do we want to try to do something different, on different days? If we're streaming 3 or 4 days a week, do we want to kind of change it up? I was talking with myself, Joey, Darren, and Mike. We were talking there. We were really getting some deep conspiracy theory stuff, which was a fun conversation earlier. And I had mentioned that was kind of one of the things I kind of wanted to throw at this channel. But I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out how to really make that wellness related. I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could be kind of like a BBW after dark. But that's why one of our slogans is, over here we hydrate, we meditate, and we speculate. So I kind of wanted to throw in the conspiracy piece. Yeah, I agree. Joey, we talked like 30 different conspiracies all in a matter of like an hour. We didn't get a whole lot of work done. I will tell you that. At some point we said, you know what? I got to do some work. This is the longest lunch break of my life. I enjoyed the dream interpretations. That was fun. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed using ChatGPT to do that, especially the speaking part. It went as well. It actually went even better than I thought it would go. If y'all missed that was a lot of fun. I had ChatGPT, who I've named Nova, interacting and interpreting the dreams we got in chat. Ashley Brewer had some good ones she was sharing with us. She has some pretty vivid dreams. Mom was on here with us. Joey was on here with us. My Aunt Teresa was on here. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Stephen Cage, I see you over there shadowing us there in TikTok. You ain't even gonna say hi? Yeah, I see you over there. At least I think he's still in here. I don't know. I still got to figure out the live thing. I'm starting to think ChatGPT does all your work for you now. I wouldn't lie to you. I've told you that I use it to help. It is a tool, no different than a calculator or a smartphone. I use it all the time. I've used it to help me kind of revise an email to give a more professional tone, especially if I'm sending an email and I'm a little bit emotional. I'll copy and paste. I'll say, you know what, look over this and give it a little bit more of a tone for me. I use it to help me organize my stuff for this. I write all the content and it puts it into nice bullet points for me. I use it for school. I probably enjoy it a little bit too much, but AI is a great tool. Yeah, that was fun, Mom. I agree. That was fun. And I made sure to tell her before we went live, throw a little bit of humor in there as well. So we've been live for about an hour, roughly an hour. We had the 15-minute starting soon screen because we got started a little bit late. ChatGPT needs a pay raise then, or you need less pay, LOL. maybe. I will say I pay for the pro version of ChatGPT, so at least it's getting they're getting their money's worth from me. Or I guess I'm getting my money's worth from them, I should say. Because you can use it for free, but you don't get as much with it. With the paid version, I can get it to generate images, which you've seen before. It's pretty good. I know. I'll tell you what. Before we kind of get into our off-brands thoughts, which is kind of our last topic of the day. It's kind of our hot take on whatever the topic might be. Before we get into that, for those of you who kind of been joining in, we have detected inactivity during your current live. Complete the verification. I guess because I didn't type in chat. What the heck? TikTok said it was going to kick me off. Hold on 1 second. I guess because I wasn't typing in chat. Hold on. Let me give a hello. That was weird. I need a ChatGPT training. TikTok, I'll tell you that right there. There's a lot of different videos that'll teach you how to use, some of the different ChatGPT prompts. You can even tell it to store stuff to its permanent memory. So like some of my slogans, self-care on clearance, wellness warriors, and all that. I can tell it to save it to it, and I'll tell it, hey, repeat back to me what some of my, slogans are. I can do that days later, and it'll still have it saved to memory. It has its name saved to memory too, so I don't have to just keep saying ChatGPT. Anyway, my real quick question was for those of you who are on here. We do the 15-minute, starting soon page, which I use to kind of just give everyone a chance to get in here before we go live. That way, once I get in here and I'm not just sitting here looking at a blank screen because there's nobody to talk to, even though we're saving this as a recording, I guess what I'm really asking is, what are your thoughts on the 15-minute starting soon screen? Do you think that that's cool, or some of you all coming in after we've already kind of gotten into it, or just kind of stick with it because we're still relatively new? The only reason I even really did it, I don't really watch streamers all that much, but the ones I have watched, that I've seen them do something similar, so that way there's people already in their audience when they actually start their stream. Do you guys think that the 15 minutes is sufficient, or is it too much, or does it, you guys are coming in later maybe? Next training suggestion at work, LOL, ChatGPT. I'm never here on time. Danny, you're never on time anywhere. Yeah, next training suggestion at work. Yeah, we'll get into AI. You know, our employer doesn't really like the whole AI thing, but that's because a lot of people are scared of AI. They don't realize the tool it can become. Not necessarily. I think start time is the start time. All right. Keep the live up on TikTok so we can watch you sleep. I came across one of those one time where someone was like sleeping in a bed, and depending on what gift you sent, it would like either spray him with water or throw a siren off, like all in an attempt to wake this person up. I'm thinking, people actually engage with this? Like, I sat there for like maybe like 60 seconds and I was like, this is really weird. But listen, everyone's got their thing. There's what, 8 billion people, 9 billion people on this planet. You know, somebody's got to have a thing. I've seen it too. Yeah, it's see, it's on Joey's algorithm too, people. I'm not here on time either. So we'll keep the starting soon page. I don't know, I kind of like it. I think it has a nice professional look. You know, it gives you all a chance. Like the plan is the show will typically start at 8:30. We go live at 8:15 to give you a chance to come in here. So I think of it this way: come in, go ahead and get the live turned on, get your popcorn, get your soda, or if we want to get healthy, you know, get your celery, get your, you know, hydration water or hydrogen water, and get ready. So we'll get into that. So yeah, we'll keep this streaming soon. I swiped up quick, haven't seen it since. Sure, Joey, sure. Is there a way to make the 15 minutes more interactive? I got bored waiting. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I can look into it. You know, one thing I keep forgetting to go to, we actually have we have a secondary camera set up. If it will work. Might not work now. Yeah, never mind. It's not going to work. I don't really want to click off here. Hold on. There we go. We have a secondary camera set up. Yeah, do 5 minutes starting. I considered doing that, but I had the timer to put that in OBS was kind of weird, so I'll have to see if I could do that. But this camera here is kind of more of just like a third-person view of me kind of interacting with the camera and interacting with you all. You can't really see the monitors, though, so it might need to move. I don't know. I thought about maybe using this to kind of make it more interactive, like at certain parts, like if we were ever doing something. I don't know. What about fun facts during the 15-minute screen? That's a good idea, Lou. I like that one. That's not bad. Instead of, I have my slogans coming across, we could still have those. But yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I like that. Fun facts, right? Questions to engage with, questions that people can start engaging with in chat to kind of get the conversation going. That's actually a really good idea. I like that. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I keep index cards here. I keep notebooks with me so that I don't forget this. So 5 minutes starting soon. Or fun facts. Fun facts / questions. No, I like that. I mean, we could always just kind of go live, just bring me on here, but the show doesn't necessarily start until 8:30. Give people time to come in. My thought was like, if I don't want to just hop in here and start talking to nobody, that was kind of the reason I started doing that. Fun fact: Danny is always late. That is a fun fact. And it's very, very true. I don't know him to be early for anything. Topics you're going to discuss during the live. Yeah, we could put that on there. Kind of set everybody up. I mean, I put it in the description for the lives, but not everybody reads that. So it's actually not true at all. I don't know, Danny. I feel like you're always pretty late. I remember your wedding. You and Ashley showed up fashionably late, even though I think that was intentional. All right, let's get into our last topic here before we finish out. This is our recurring segment called Off-Brand Thoughts. Right, basically, it's our hot take on the topic that we're talking. Hard pills to swallow. There's someone out there who's way less qualified than you, living the life you want, simply because they took action. You will never make lasting changes until you forgive your past self. You don't need to change the world around you. You just need to change how you see it. One can be a pretty hard one to swallow. Social media is a tool to distract yourself from a life you don't enjoy. If you really wanted it, you would make time for it. Being selfish isn't a bad thing. Fill your own cup before trying to pour into everyone else's. The move you're most scared to make is the one that will change everything for you. And lastly, if you don't start today, you probably won't start tomorrow either. Self-care doesn't always have to be expensive, especially here on Bargain Brand Wellness, where self-care is on clearance. Hold up when this turned against me. Listen, everybody kept coming to my algorithm. I had to find a way to kind of shift it to the other direction. Danny was born on his due date. Just saying. Joey, what are you over here saying? Make a pre-recorded video of all your funny moments from Bargain Brand Wellness once you get them. Put that at the intro. Have fun. Have like fun facts at 20 seconds later. Funny video. Then more fun facts or topics in another. Yeah, we'll probably get some clips here eventually once we get more recorded content. Like a nice little intro. Even the intro we're using right now, that's just a start. I created that off of Canva. There's all different interfaces you can use and whatnot. Yeah, we'll definitely get more into that. See, on time. Sure you were. The one and only time he's on early, he's gonna hold that over your head. You should invite me to your show. I have so much knowledge to pass on. Oh, yeah, you know what? I actually forgot to mention that. At some point here in the very near future, we're probably going to do this for a little while, but I do plan on inviting guests on here at some point. Remotely, obviously, just because I don't really have room in here to have somebody on. But I definitely plan on bringing guests in. And I'm not necessarily looking for like professional wellness. I'm looking for people I know, who want to come in and talk wellness with us, for the show. It's your time to talk, right? And it probably won't be every week or not every week, every stream, but probably once a week or, every so often bring people in and talk. I definitely do plan on doing that. After our great conversation that we had today on conspiracy theories, me, Joe, and Mike and Graham, we might have to do a little conspiracy theory stream one night. We were getting deep into it, right? Is Bigfoot real? Is the Loch Ness Monster real? Did we actually go to the moon? Find out next time on Bargain Brand Wellness. See, it's not really a wellness topic. That's my only concern, and I really don't want to start a separate channel just to talk about conspiracy theories, but maybe, like I said, maybe we'll just kind of make it a BBW after dark type thing. No to all. No to all. You don't believe in Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. You got to believe in something. So here's the fun fact I shared. All right. For those who say Bigfoot's not real because there's no evidence, for the longest time, the panda, yes, the panda, the fluffy black and white bear, was thought to be a myth because they are so rare and so difficult to find in nature that they were also thought to be a myth. In fact, even now, to find them in the wild is very, very difficult. So, just saying, there's a lot of places across our world unexplored. We talk about sailing off into the sky, into space. We've got parts of our own planet we still haven't really discovered. They say that, we've discovered less than 5% or searched less than 5% of the ocean. There's forests just in our own country that not many people have traversed through. Right? I don't know if I believe in all conspiracies, but there's a reason they're called conspiracy theories. Some of them are true. Right? And they're masked by all of the obviously fake ones. Now it's just up to you to figure out which one is true. As I said before, not as easy as it may seem. Maybe BBW off-brand and off-topic. Ooh, I like that one actually. I had one of my slogans is off-brand and on point. I like that one. Off-brand and off-topic. I like that one. I'm gonna write that one down. And I give credit where credit's due. I did not come up with that. Off-brand and off-topic. I like that one. That's a good one. Thank you for that. Good. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being here today. I really appreciate it. Even though we had some slight technical difficulties. For our late arrivals, you probably didn't even notice. But we got started a few minutes late. But thank you guys for being here. Continue, please continue to give me your support. My wellness warriors, my self-care connoisseurs, as we kind of sail off into the moonlight. Got it. So Tim's into BBW. Listen, I was just looking for a shortened name. I don't even know what BBW stands for. All right, let's wrap this up. I love you guys. And that's a wrap on today's episode. Whether you're leading the charge, navigating corporate chaos, or just trying to survive another team-building icebreaker, remember, your worth isn't defined by your title, your productivity, or how many hats you wear. It's about how you show up for yourself and for the people around you. So take a breath, drink some water, and if all else fails, speculate. Until next time, off-brand and on point, and as always, make it worth your wellness. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.